The story of the United States Constitution begins amid the fires of revolution and the quest for self-governance. In the mid-18th century, the 13 American colonies chafed under British rule, burdened by taxes imposed without representation and restrictive trade policies. Tensions escalated through events like the Boston Massacre of 1770 and the Boston Tea Party of 1773, culminating in the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. Drafted primarily by Thomas Jefferson, this document proclaimed the colony's right to break free, rooted in Enlightenment ideals of natural rights, liberty, and government by consent. The Revolutionary War followed, a grueling 8-year conflict that tested the colonists' resolve against the world's premier military power. Victory at Yorktown in 1781 secured independence, but peace brought new challenges. The Continental Congress, the loose assembly that had orchestrated the war, lacked the authority to unify the fledgling states effectively. With no executive branch or taxing power, it struggled to pay war debts, regulate commerce, or maintain a standing army. Economic chaos ensued. States printed their own money, leading to inflation. Interstate trade wars erupted as colonies imposed tariffs on each other. And Shays' Rebellion in 1786 to 1787, a farmer uprising in Massachusetts over debt and taxes, exposed the fragility of the post-war order. These crises revealed the urgent need for a stronger national framework. Influential figures like George Washington, the revered general who had led the Continental Army, warned of anarchy if the states remained disunited. Thus, the push for a constitution emerged not as an abstract philosophical exercise, but as a pragmatic response to the revolution's unfinished business, forging a durable republic from the ashes of monarchy. The Articles of Confederation and their problems. The first attempt at national governance came with the Articles of Confederation, ratified in 1781 after years of debate. This document created a firm league of friendship among the states, emphasizing sovereignty and decentralization in reaction to British tyranny. Congress held exclusive powers over foreign affairs, war, and treaties, but states retained control over most domestic matters. There was no national judiciary or executive. Instead, a unicameral Congress managed affairs through committees, requiring 9 of 13 states for most decisions and unanimity for amendments. Yet the Article's weaknesses quickly unraveled the Union. Lacking taxation authority, Congress relied on voluntary state contributions, which were chronically insufficient. By 1786, it could barely pay interest on war debts. Without power to regulate interstate commerce, states pursued selfish policies. Virginia and Maryland quarreled over the Potomac River, while New York taxed goods from New Jersey. This economic disarray stifled growth and bred resentment. Diplomatically, the central government appeared feeble. Britain refused to vacate western forts. Spain blocked Mississippi River access. And under the 1784 Treaty of Fort Stanwix, Congress struggled to assert control over Native American territories. Domestically, the absence of a national coercive mechanism meant Congress could request but not enforce militias or laws, leaving it powerless against uprisings like Shays' Rebellion. Led by Daniel Shays, indebted farmers shut down courts to prevent foreclosures, forcing Massachusetts to rely on private funding for suppression. Washington, observing from Mount Vernon, lamented the general government too feeble. Figures like James Madison, a Virginia congressman, meticulously documented these flaws in letters and notes, arguing that the articles created not a nation, but a fragile alliance prone to dissolution. Calls for reform mounted, leading Congress to issue an invitation in February 1787 for states to send delegates to Philadelphia for the sole and express purpose of revising the Articles. In reality, many envisioned wholesale replacement. The Constitutional Convention of 1787, events, delegates, and debates. The Constitutional Convention convened on May 25, 1787, in the Pennsylvania State House, now Independence Hall, amid secrecy oaths to foster candid debate. George Washington presided, his presence lending prestige and impartiality. Though reluctant, he accepted to unify the fractious assembly. 55 delegates from 12 states attended. Rhode Island boycotted, fearing loss of sovereignty, representing a cross-section of elites, planters, merchants, lawyers, and financiers. Key figures included James Madison, the father of the Constitution, for his preparatory studies and Virginia Plan; Alexander Hamilton, New York's ambitious advocate for strong central power; Benjamin Franklin, the elder statesman whose wit tempered tensions; and others like Gouverneur Morris, who penned the final preamble. Debates raged over 4 sweltering months, producing the Virginia Plan, proportional representation favoring large states; the New Jersey Plan, equal state votes preserving small state influence; and the resulting Connecticut Compromise for a bicameral Congress, a population-based House, and equal state Senate. Slavery proved divisive. The 3/5 compromise counted enslaved people as 3/5 for representation and taxes, while the slave trade clause delayed import bans until 1808. Commerce and Navigation Acts required 2/3 Senate approval to appease Southern exporters. Pivotal moments included Madison's influence in establishing an independent executive and judiciary, Hamilton's visionary speeches pushing for a president for life, rejected, and Franklin's plea for compromise at 81 years old. On September 17th, 39 delegates signed the final draft, with Washington affixing his name last. The document bypassed the Article's unanimity rule by proposing direct state conventions for ratification, a bold maneuver that sparked controversy. Exhaustion and compromise had birthed a revolutionary blueprint, but its fate hung in the balance. Main principles of the Constitution: separation of powers, checks and balances, federalism at its core. The Constitution enshrined principles drawn from Enlightenment thinkers like Montesquieu and Locke, balancing power to prevent tyranny. Separation of powers divided government into 3 co-equal branches: legislative, Article 1, executive, Article 2, and judicial, Article 3. Congress makes laws, the President executes them, and the Supreme Court interprets them, each drawing legitimacy from distinct constituencies, electors, states, and lifetime appointment. Checks and balances interlocked these branches, ensuring mutual restraint. The President vetoes bills overridden by 2/3 congressional majorities. Congress impeaches officials, including the President. Courts declare laws unconstitutional, implied in Marbury versus Madison, 1803. This intricate web, as Madison explained in Federalist Number 51, pitted ambition against ambition. If men were angels, no government would be necessary. Federalism defined the national-state relationship, granting enumerated powers to the federal government: coinage, defense, commerce, while reserving others to states via the 10th Amendment. Yet implied powers, like the Necessary and Proper Clause, allowed flexibility. Supremacy Clause. Article 6 made federal law paramount, resolving conflicts. These principles created a dynamic system, limited yet energetic government, Republican yet protective of liberties, adapting through amendments while anchoring stability. Ratification process and Federalists versus Anti-Federalists. Ratification unfolded from September 1787 to June 1788, requiring 9 state conventions. Proponents, dubbed Federalists, championed the Constitution as essential for union and prosperity. Hamilton, Madison, and John Jay authored the Federalist Papers, 85 essays dissecting its virtues, with number 10 addressing factions and number 51 checks. Washington lent silent support, while Franklin urged Pennsylvania's approval. Opponents, anti-federalists like Patrick Henry, George Mason, and Richard Henry Lee, decried it as a power grab eroding state sovereignty and individual rights. They feared a distant aristocracy, absence of a Bill of Rights, and vague terms like necessary and proper. Pamphlets like Brutus and Federal Farmer warned of consolidated tyranny. Delaware ratified first, unanimously, followed by Pennsylvania amid riots. Virginia's razor-close vote, 89 to 79, hinged on Madison's persuasion. New York's 30 to 27 came after Hamilton's marathon efforts. By June 21, 1788, 9 states approved, though North Carolina and Rhode Island delayed until 1789 to 1790 with Bill of Rights assurances. The process tested democracy, affirming popular sovereignty through conventions. The Bill of Rights and its importance. The Constitution's ratification hinged on addressing anti-federalist fears, leading to the Bill of Rights, 10 amendments ratified in 1791. Madison, once skeptical, proposed them in 1789, drawing from state declarations. The First Amendment safeguards speech, religion, press, assembly, and petition. The second arms the militia. The fourth protects against unreasonable searches. The fifth ensures due process. These amendments shifted the document from structural framework to rights bulwark, limiting federal overreach. They enshrined natural rights against government, influencing global charters. Landmark cases like Gitlow versus New York, 1925, incorporated them to states via the 14th Amendment. Without them, ratification might have failed. Today, they symbolize American liberty, enduring amid debates over originalism versus living interpretation. Early development and impact on the United States. The Constitution took effect March 4, 1789, with Washington's unanimous election as president. Hamilton's financial system, national bank, debt assumption, stabilized economy, sparking Federalist Republican rifts under Jefferson. Judiciary Act of 1789 established courts. Washington's precedents, like two-term limit, shaped norms. Challenges arose. Whiskey Rebellion, 1794, tested federal authority, quelled firmly. Jay Treaty, 1794, averted war with Britain. By 1800, partisan battles culminated in Jefferson's election, affirming peaceful power transfer. Marshall Court, 1801 to 1835, expanded federal power via McCulloch versus Maryland. 1819, upholding implied powers. The Constitution's impact proved profound. It enabled westward expansion. Louisiana Purchase, 1803, industrialization and Civil War survival, despite testing slavery clauses. Amendments 11 by 1868 adapted it to abolition, suffrage, income tax. Globally, it inspired revolutions in France, Latin America. Domestically, it fostered economic powerhouse status, rule of law, and resilient democracy, evolving through crises like depression and civil rights. Conclusion: the Constitution of 1787 stands as a monumental achievement, transforming revolutionary ideals into enduring governance. From Articles' frailty through convention debates to ratification struggles, it balanced unity with liberty via separation of powers, checks, federalism, and rights protections. Washington, Madison, Hamilton, and Franklin's legacies endure in this great experiment. 2 centuries on, it remains a living document, guiding the world's oldest constitutional republic through adaptation and principle, a testament to human capacity for reasoned self rule.